Evolution. I say it, and I immediately know what you think of. This image. But what would you say if I told you that it does a grave misjustice to the concept it attempts to identify? This image is very powerful, and when it was first made, it spread through our culture like wildfire, faster than anyone could keep up with it. But if we're not careful, it may just overpower the concept that it's trying to identify in the process.
Unfortunately, this image is a poor depiction of evolution, for two reasons. First of all, it applies a teleological great chain of being, which would require human beings to be at the top and inferior beings to be below, which in a scientific sense is not how we think our biosphere is composed. Secondly, it implies that human beings evolved from modern monkeys in a linear fashion. Well, we did share a common ancestor with modern monkeys, but we didn't evolve from them. So where did this idea come from? Where was this image originally found? Well, it was originally illustrated by Rudolf Zallinger and put in a 1965 Time Life Nature Library book called Early Man. Unfortunately, this edition has proven kind of hard to find, but a second edition was published in 1973, and one of them happens to live in the WVU downtown library.
And here is the original image. Unofficially known as the March of Progress, it is actually called the Road to Homo sapiens. And while the current image may be teleological and a snipping of the great chain of being, it is clearly identified in the book as a timeline. And time, unless you're a fan of science fiction, is linear. And each image has a caption clearly describing what the species is and whether or not it's a direct human ancestor.
So what we see is this image all by itself, divorced from the text and the timeline that it was put in the book with, isn't a very good symbol for evolution at all. So what is? For this, again, we return to the WVU library. So let's look at some accurate depictions of evolution, and we'll start with the father of evolutionary biology, Charles Darwin himself. So here we see not organisms evolving in a linear fashion. Instead, we see them branching out from a single point, from a single common ancestor, which is much more accurate with our modern view of how biology works.
Over the years, we've found a lot more organisms and have sequenced a lot more genomes. And we get images of the tree of life now that look an awful lot like this. Very complex, very big. And the iconic status starts to go away after a while when you can't even read the names on the image.
So, artists, graphic designers, evolutionary biologists, the young learning community of the world begs you, please, come up with something better for us to show the public about evolution.